So you're here to become a better sorcerer, huh? Maybe to impress your friends, or maybe just to get massive marks in Colo. Or if you're like me and you just really enjoy throwing giant rocks at small children. Well bro, I got you covered. We're gonna go over stats, strats, and mats. And with all that being said, let us begin. I'm just going to start off with stats, because a wise man once said you can have stats without strats, but one cannot have strats without stats. Now I won't sit here and lie to you when I say there's one good stat build. There are two. Option 1 is reserved for Giga Chads, so use at your own discretion. Essentially you get 49 strength and slap everything else into intelligence for main ability damage. Why 49, you may ask? Well, thanks to the new funny level cap update in Colo, 49 strength main game converts very evenly to 30 strength for Colo. The other build is very similar, you just replace 49 strength with 49 dex, which gives you 30 dex in Colo, which is for multi-bomb. This build is definitely my favorite, and thanks to low-level items being particularly valuable in Colo, it happens to be one of the best builds in the entire game right now. Thank you, Ben Reza. For mage abilities, honestly, it's all up to you, but I would recommend slapping everything into 10 out of 10 bomb and 5 out of 5 blink, then using the slight remainder for Thunder Call, because let's be honest, who uses that ability anyways? Sorcerer abilities also have a bit of leniency. You absolutely want 10 out of 10 Earth Call, which allows you to then slap your enemies with multi-bomb or stars whenever you're in the mood during their entire 3-second death sentence. Rest of the points in that category are up to your discretion, but personally, I like Meteor for dishing out high volumes of damage in a short time frame. It also works as a great AoE finisher on pesky assassins. Mats, baby! Let's talk about fat stacks of cold hard mats. First up, we got the web staff. This item is key for the whole build because it makes Earth Call and multi-bomb incredibly busted and purely skill based so that nobody can ever get mad at you. Some of you might be saying, but Mercy, I only have a keen forgotten staff with a nope. Don't even go there. Trade it for web. That way you be gaming a PvP and you have the highest single target DPS in the game for PvE. You should use web with the strength based Giga Chad build as well, because strength bomb with web is like the hottest thing in the game, and you know it like makes you go you know, like one of those. Yeah, you know what I mean. As you'll see from the gameplay in the background, you don't really need armor for either build to work effectively. As long as you have your blink keybind easily accessible and you have the slightest bit of game sense as to how to not get murked by ground slam, then you should be fine without armor on mage entirely. My blink is binded to V so that I can jump and then immediately bring my thumb up and blink for the extra distance. So I mean, if you're worried that your armor won't work with multi-bomb, just don't worry about it. It's better to just invest that money in a better web so you can have more damage. Hey boy, it's time for strats. Now this section is definitely my favorite, and it'll probably be the most interesting segment by far. But before we get into strategies, we have to talk about play styles. A play style is your natural tendency to fight in a certain way. Maybe you don't know yours, but you'd be surprised to learn that everyone is repetitive. I'm no different. As I see it, there are essentially 3 main playstyles, which are aggressive, defensive, and conservative. Aggressive is the most fun, being a fast-paced, ankle grinder, fender bender machine you can easily rip and tear through your opponents at light speed. Defensive is probably the most reliable and usually pretty common among knights. It revolves around like hanging back and waiting for your opponent to exhaust themselves while you play for the long game and deal chip damage while you just, abuse extra health. You can see it on like high warlock, like high HP warlock sometimes too. It's usually most common on knights though, because they know that they're gonna win if they just don't play aggro, and as you can imagine, this is very annoying to fight. Now last and certainly not least is conservative playstyles. Conservative playstyles are based on playing around your opponent, not too aggro, not too defensive. Most of the damage is based on counter plays and taking advantage of holes in your opponent's defense. This is definitely the play style I most often resort to. It allows me to completely control the pace of the duel and basically do whatever I want to a certain degree. And it is extremely hard to counter. Now, what I've learned in my embarrassing amount of hours in this game is that people are extremely predictable. I'm no exception. I'm a very linear man with a very linear plan, and that plan is to hit small gremlin with big rock. Once you've accomplished that, you can swiftly end them with multi-venom, star spam, or even meteor call. But now you might be asking, but how do I hit goblin with rock? Well, that's where the strategy comes in. My first suggestion is bind Earth Call to something easily accessible. Like mine is binded to G, but I never actually need to hit G because my mouse, the Razer Naga Trinity, has side buttons that I've bound to my Visteria keys. The reason for this is because you want to be able to jump and then immediately after hitting spacebar, bring your thumb up to whatever key Earth Call is and use it. This way you will throw the rock between your max jump height and somewhere on the way down. The point of this is to give you mobility while casting Earth Call. If not, you'll be stuck on the ground at a walking pace and very open to about every form of damage possible. But, I mean, once you start to get comfortable with Earth Call's cast timing and projectile speed, you can start doing fancy things like 360s and all that stuff I do in videos to look cool. Even though, to be honest, it really isn't that hard. I mean, 360, you just jump, spin, use Earth Call. Another good strategy has to do with the Colo Cannon. I know for a fact most of you will use the cannon, land on the hill, use one ability, die, and repeat for like 8 hours. Don't, okay? The cannon, use the cannon, but jump to the side of the hill and cast an ability on the hill. This allows you to deal damage without launching yourself directly into harm's way. I mean, it's different when you're on Berserker, because you can like use a single ground slam and wipe half of Colo in an instant. Pretty much similar to Thanos. Unfortunately, Sorcerer has no ground slam. For Colo though, my biggest tip by far is stay vigilant. Sorcerer is a very 1v1 based class, and Colo is a very not 1v1 based area. You should always stay on your toes and try to move around as much as possible. To be honest, Sorcerer is only like 30% skill and 70% game sense. It's extremely valuable to be aware of your surroundings. I mean, I don't mean to sound like a mathematician, but the Y value of your duels is also very important. As it may be harder to aim from higher or lower than your opponent, it can be very easily abusable. Since Earth Call travels like 10 times as fast when you throw it straight up or down, you can literally just launch it to the sun. I've no idea why that works, but I mean, abuse that how you will. It's pretty fun to pull off. Like if you're standing on the hill and you see some guy running on like the east side of Colo, you can just launch a rock at him at like 1,000 miles an hour, knock him in the head, and then jump down and hit him with some mage bombs. Actually, Meteor would be more reliable at that range. I wouldn't do... Well, is Earth Call 100? No. Wait, I don't think Web Bomb's 100% accurate. I would just go with Meteor Call at that range. Now we're gonna move on to the least favorite section. Agony. The biggest thing to worry about is definitely Assassins. Sorcerer, especially with the Earth Call build, happens to be a very aim-based class, and Assassin is incredibly fast and usually hard to see. Not to mention they can go invisible on command and cross the map faster than you can subscribe to my channel. Not alluding to anything though, you guys should definitely be free thinkers. What I've learned about Assassin is that you can more often than not, they will pop Invis and run directly towards you to close the gap. Now you have two options. Blink in the direction the Assassin's coming from, hope they miss by a long shot, or throw an Earth Call in their general direction, then get on your knees and pray to God it lands. However, this is easier than you'd imagine, because in most scenarios, Assassin will pop Invis and then absolutely book it in a straight line. I swear they lose all cognitive function once they activate that ability. They're just like, nah, you know what? Let's run in a straight line at the opponent, because they can't see me. They'll never know where I am. Yeah, well, you assassins watching this video, I do know, and I will find you. Mushroom Hero, or any class with Mushroom Hero chestplate, any warrior with that. Don't even try to fight them, because with Webbed Bomb, they will just heal more health back than damage you can deal. I tried on stream the other day. It is very, very annoying. So just ignore them, because 99% of the time you're going to be faster than them. And if they are running at you, well then you win, because they don't activate the ability. So yeah, just run. They either don't follow you and you don't have to deal with them, or they do follow you and it makes them very easy to deal with. Yo, what's going on? Here to do my outro. It's 2 in the morning. I was gonna do a whole nother section about the advanced mechanics of Earth Call, and then I realized that is quite silly and that is a waste of time, and I don't want this video to take up like any more of my schedule. So I guess this is my outro. Thanks for sticking around. If you enjoyed, if you have any tips or any cool fun facts you want to let me know, just join my Discord and you can yell at me, or you can just do it in the comments. I don't really care, to be honest. I'll read it either way. And yeah, that's about all I got. Thanks for showing up. With all that being said, goodbye and perchance.